can't tell exactly where we are. It's a bit chaotic here. Very surreal scene. I mean, the ash and the embers are so intense. It's hard to breathe. This wind is absolutely insane. I've covered a number of these fires. This is definitely one of the worst wind situations I've seen. And as you guys said, this is just so horrific. I'm from Claremont. My parents' home is near base of the mountains, and they've had to evacuate before. And the feeling that you have when you leave and not know if you're going to come back to your home, it's so horrible. And we just want to let people know that we feel their pain. We live here in Southern California. This scene is just horrible to watch. We know that this means people's memories, their things, their lives are going up in flames here. And this is just crazy. There's another home over in the distance. You can hear all the debris crackling and falling, and all of the pieces of the home, chunks of wood falling down. It's relentless out here. It's just horrible. I mean, just horrible. I hope that most of the people here have heeded the warnings to leave, because if they haven't, they are in for a very long and terrible night. Oh my gosh.
What was that, Tom? What happened?
Okay. That was a huge section of the home that just came down. I don't know. I'm certain that no one was standing near it when that happened. I didn't see anybody, but wow, that's crazy. And there's just a ton of ash and fire blowing from that house. I don't see how another home isn't going to catch fire with all this flaming debris blowing around. It's just an insane scene here. I think we're basically giving you a different angle of what you were seeing from a different street where Jeff Nguyen and Ken Kohler were standing just a second ago. It's hard to describe how incredibly intense the elements are out here right now, and absolutely the challenge the firefighters have out here to save so many homes when you have so much going on, so much with the wind and these embers blowing from one home to the next. There's another home. They're trying to attack that one. They've got hoses down on that house as well, but the fire is just too intense. There's just all they can do now is go into damage control mode in terms of containing this as best they can, because they are up against a monster right now. That monster is Mother Nature, and it is relentless.
with what rank?
Battalion Chief with LA County Fire Department.
Can you tell me where we are right now and what's going on?
We are in Ventura County. We're driving by to another location when we were notified that we were losing homes in this area. And so I dispatched my units to start trying to save as many homes as we could.
Gotcha. And at this point, do you have any idea on the fire what was at right now, acreage-wise and whatnot?
Right now, I'm not sure. We're so engaged in trying to save these homes and make sure that the residents here are evacuated that I am not sure how big the head of the fire is.
Gotcha. At this point, do you know how many different agencies might be assisting right now?
At this point, I'm not sure. This is Ventura County's fire. We are assisting Ventura County with this fire.
Do you have an approximation of like how many LA County resources might be on the fire right now?
Right now, we probably have about 6 or 7 strike teams here from LA County, and but that's just in this location. I'm not quite sure where our other strike teams are at this point. We do have other strike teams deployed around the fire.
Can you tell me some of the challenges that firefighters might be facing tonight?
Right now, the biggest challenge for us is the wind. The wind is at dangerously high speeds. It's kind of grounded our aircraft, which is a big asset for us. And so we don't have our aircraft tonight. And trying to keep these fires from jumping from one house to the other with these high winds is really hard for us to do.
And then any tips for anyone that might be in the area that might be affected by this fire?
Anyone that's in the area, we suggest we have at 18:30 we put out a mandatory evacuation order, and so we suggest that you evacuate immediately.
Anything else you might be able to add?
At this point, we're just going to go ahead and make sure that we try to save as many homes as we can. Our firefighters are doing great work and made some really good stops and saved a lot of homes here.
Moving south now to the Woolsey fire, which is not far from the scene of Wednesday night's mass shooting in Thousand Oaks. Our John Blackstone is in Oak Park, California, where firefighters battled the fire through the night.
The intensifying Woolsey fire has quadrupled in size in just hours. Firefighters are doing their best to battle the raging flames as they jump from one house to the next.
With these high winds, it's really hard with the ember cast that's happened. It's really hard for us to save some of these homes. So what we're doing is putting a water curtain in between some homes to stop the fire from leapfrogging and catching other homes on fire.
30,000 people have been evacuated so far. We were there as flames overtook another Oak Park home, despite firefighters' efforts. Big problem firefighters are having here, even when they think they have this under control. Embers fall and another house, blown in by these strong winds, start another fire. The number of evacuees is expected to rise as embers push ahead of the fire. One evacuation center was even forced to close down as the flames spread. And just west of here, another blaze, dubbed the Hill Fire, topped 10,000 acres yesterday. Hundreds of firefighters are still struggling to contain it.
And John is with us now from Oak Park, California, which, as we just said, is being devastated by this fire. John, what is it like right now where you are? We can still see the flames burning behind you.
Well, certainly there are flames behind me here. There are flames on the hillside over this way. This neighborhood was being inundated with embers falling from these fires overnight. This neighborhood, 15 to 20 houses burned here overnight. This is one of them. This was all driven by these wind-driven embers falling down into this neighborhood, just suddenly lighting up a home. Others around it were standing here and there. Homes have been destroyed.
So listen, John, as I understand it, we were aware that there was a fire burning, say, at 2 o'clock in the afternoon yesterday in the area, but overnight, things changed dramatically. What happened?
Put it down to the very dry conditions and very strong wind gusts up to 55 miles an hour. The air here now is clear. The smoke has been blown away, but the fire was coming from over to the west of us overnight, driven by the winds. Embers were falling into this neighborhood. Put it down to the winds and very dry conditions.
We can hear the winds just through your microphone there, John, and these mics are sensitive, but that sounds like really, really strong winds there. Have you talked to anybody in the neighborhoods? I mean, I'm guessing that most people decided to get out of Dodge, but are there people that are still there?
The neighborhood has been evacuated. There was one man here last night who came running down the street, alerting people to a house that was suddenly on fire, alerting fire crews to a house that was suddenly on fire up the street. But generally, no. People have left here. It's too dangerous. Firefighters came in, evacuated this area. This fire moves very quickly. That's why people are gone.
So then, as we understand it, moving through the weekend, the winds are going to continue to remain pretty high. So what's the plan for firefighters? How are they going to battle this?
Plans for firefighters are now what they seem to be in California all the time: be ready and be ready to go. I'll tell you, less than an hour ago, there were fire trucks all around us here now. Those firefighters have had to scramble toward the west, where this fire is now moving, jumping across Highway 101, beginning to burn toward Malibu.
I guess it's just a matter of containing what you can. But, you know, we've seen this before, that the wind changes its direction and suddenly, you know, the plan of action has to rapidly change as well. John Blackstone, thank you so much.